It's Dr. B and Elizabeth. Elizabeth, say hi, hello to the world. Hello! Are you ready for Christmas? Yep. Did you send any letter to Santa? I can't write yet, but I told him what I wanted. Don't you know that? Hello, everybody. We are ready to take you to the next level with our show today, connecting with the CEO of the family, the decision maker for our little fiddle farts. Dr. B and Elizabeth here. Elizabeth is going to take a nap for a minute while we carry on. And we are going to Jimmy Jam to our little slideshow and rock and roll with you all today. Okay, time for you to take a nap, girlfriend. So Elizabeth has been on a roll waiting for Santa, like everybody else these days. First of all, Chiro Secure, thank you for giving us this amazing platform to hang out and share our story and our information with other amazing chiropractors in the field. So thank you for always supporting us and having our backs. And from my home to yours out there, Merry early Christmas. So what are we going to do today? We want to connect with the CEOs of the family or the decision makers of those that care for the little fiddle farts that come into our practices. So I wanted just to kind of give you some things to chew on, to think about as you are working to build your pediatric and family practices and start off 2023 with a bada boom, bada beam, bada bang, bang, bang. With that said, moms generally are the chief medical officers of the family. In fact, 79% of mamas report that they are the ones that usually choose care for their kiddos with various health providers. 77% of moms report that they are the ones that generally take the kiddos to their appointments. And we see that in our practices, right? It's generally moms that will make the appointments. It's generally moms that will choose to initiate care along with their little fiddle farts, or they start care with you first before they bring their kiddos in. So we see those, we see that shift of moms generally versus dad. Dads out there, you are not lost in the scenario. We have many, many dads that come in as a family unit as well. So we want to acknowledge you as well. But 94% of moms, of women in general, are said to make healthcare decisions for themselves, which is good. We're going to take that little point and take it a little bit further. And about 59% of women tend to make healthcare decisions for others within their family unit. The CDC says that about 58% of noted family caregivers, primary caregivers, are the moms. And 58% of women make healthcare decisions, and they do so. But one of the biggest things we should be considering is that in making those decisions, they feel a lack of confidence and or maybe support from others within the family unit. So keep those things in mind. So what are some 5 basic things to consider when we want to try to give moms a little bit breather when they come in and they are going to be that decision maker? Okay. So one thing is empower. Let's think about empowering them. Many individuals in general, moms, dads, caregivers in general, come in with already a set level of knowledge. A lot of them have done their due diligence. They've maybe Dr. Googled, which we don't care for that much. They've talked to others. They've had their own experience. They've had other experiences, you name it, right? Oftentimes, though, when they've sought care from other providers, rather than being empowered and taken in as part of the conversation, instead they've been talked to. We will be doing this. We will be doing that. I'm going to prescribe this. I'm going to prescribe that from the provider, versus listening to what mom has to say, allowing her questions to be heard, and letting her be part of the conversation and the decision making and feel good about it. So we want to give her. We don't want to power struggle. We don't want power over her. However, we want to empower her. Answer the questions. Don't get offended should they come in with things from Dr. Google, but listen and know that let her know she's being heard. Okay. One of the ways that we can do that is we can look at what we call the evidence-based model of practice. That's gotten a lot of attention in the chiropractic world in the last 5 years or so. And we've heard that being addressed more and more at different conferences. But I just wanted to kind of go over that because this is it's a nice way to put forth information for the caregiver, whoever's there in at that time, and to let them make the decision as to what feels right for them for their family. So one is I use that picture of 3 different hats here, which I learned from Dr. Heidi Havik, the way she explains this. So we have our first hat, our clown hat in this scenario, and that would be the science. What science do we have? If little Fiddlefart is coming in for, hey, I heard chiropractic can help with bedwetting, or I heard chiropractic can help with ADHD or autism or what have you. Being forthcoming with the science that we have to date and with whatever they're being seen for. So we can present the little science that we have. We don't have a lot in a lot of areas and a lot of topics, so to speak. But we can say from the science that we have today, we know that little Jimmy or that children in general can benefit from chiropractic care for colic. Okay, we have a few subjects that we do have some information on. Or studies have found that children with colic may present with 50% less crying time. If you don't have the science, for instance, we don't have any science to say if chiropractic can help with autism. Don't be afraid to say that. But then your second hat, your little Lucky Charm hat here, is where we can really use our clinical experience to say what we found over the course of our career working with kiddos. In the evidence-based model of practice, your clinical experience, what you have done and seen in your practices, has just as much weight as the other 2 hats. And that is evidence-based practice. So you can say, from my clinical experience, I have found that moms report back that their little ones responded remarkably well to chiropractic care for their symptoms of colic. In my practice, I have found that little kiddos that I've worked with have responded quite well to digestive issues. And we have seen that their bowel movements become more regular. That is just as valuable as our science, okay, in this evidence-based 3-hat model. And then the last hat is our witch's hat. What are their wishes and wants? So mom, we know that Johnny has been prescribed Ritalin for his ADHD, and I'm sure that they've informed you about the potential side effects of Ritalin. Mom will probably say, no, not really. Okay, well, here's some side effects that we know that can occur with this medication. The side effects from chiropractic care, from what we've seen from our research, is that they may have a little bit of soreness or stiffness after the adjustment. Mom, dad, what are your wishes and wants? This is my recommendation, that I see Johnny for 2 times a week, 3 times a week, whatever your protocol is, for X amount of weeks. Then we reevaluate, we see where we're at, and we go from there. At this point, what do you feel comfortable with? Let them make the decision. That is where you can get that. You really get that credibility working with them and giving them the power to choose. You give them information, you educate them, you give them the option. And really at that point, 99.9% of the time, they're seeking you out because nothing else has worked. So they're like, let's go for it. Okay. So empowering and explaining, doing the evidence-based model, boom, a lot of connection and bonding with the caregivers at that point. So create an experience. That's the next thing. Number 2, create an experience. I say, let moms use their mommy meter. They know more about their kiddos than we do. They really do. They have this innate connection, right, with their little ones. Let that be heard. They're not used to being heard and validated. So by looking them in the eye, by having a calm environment, by you being calm, that means you got to stay in a state of balance yourself, eating right, getting enough sleep, exercising, you being in a state that you're so calm and confident in your recommendations that you're not going to get flustered. That comes across. Kids, animals, parents protecting their kiddos, they know your energy. Have nice lighting, a nice calm environment if you want to offer things like water, tea, or so forth, but sit and have an experience with this individual and let their voice be heard. Very, very powerful. And have Kleenex ready, because number 3 is a big, big thing. When you've given them that power to choose what they feel is right for their child, when you've created an experience of caring, of warmth, of connection, and then you go on to explain their child to them. Now, this is a little bit depending on what they're coming in for, but a child's neuroexpressive behavior, the way they behave in life, is really a window into their neurological integrity. To really understand a person's expressive behavior, it may entail that you look at doing advanced educational seminars or so forth to understand this sensory motor, what I call perception response mechanisms. But when you explain a child's behavior to them and why they're doing it, this is when the tears start to flow. More than once. I mean, it happens on a regular basis. So I have a box of Kleenex handy, because once mom understand it's not her fault, it's nothing she's doing to, because a lot of parents, believe it or not, think that it's their fault, that they're doing something wrong. Once they understand it's not that, they can actually bond better with their child. They understand these behavioral struggles. So that is a key thing. So for instance, the kiddo that is always getting in trouble at school for being what I call the tornado kiddo, just getting up and running around all the time, can't sit still, spinning, getting up in circle time. Oftentimes what their brain is craving is movement. It is oftentimes vestibular input to their brain. And so once parents understand that, and we can explain why chiropractic care would be so important in that situation, because knowing the brain getting the proper information into the body, so that from the body to the brain, so the brain knows the status of the body, that child can better self-regulate. That child that is what I call the pull, punch, push kiddo, the aggressive, maybe the bullier, they pinch a lot, they bite. Oftentimes they're looking for deep pressure to get a status of their body. They're looking for proprioception. And so we explain that to the caregivers, and it's like a light bulb moment. And then how can we help them foster better regulation and information from the body to the brain and the brain to the body? And we give them the message of chiropractic. So that is a golden ticket. So you got the 3 E's: empower, experience, explain. Now, women talk. We like to talk, right? Especially moms that are struggling, have kiddos with challenges. they are out there on Dr. Google, on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever. I'm not savvy on a lot of social media, as you guys know. But they talk. They talk in mommy groups at the gym, you name it, right? At church, at the school, whatever. They talk. So if they have a great experience, that is a win-win. If they don't have such a great experience, that's not such a win. So make sure that you set the stage with the 3 E's. And the other things you can do is you can have mommy nights or women's nights or caregiver nights or whatever you want to call it in your offices, where they actually come together as a supportive community for each other. And believe me, in the time of COVID, this is beyond big. An example was just Monday, I had a single mom come in and break down. She was just at her wit's end. And she says, Dr. B, you have helped me so much. I'm doing so much better. She had had COVID and had chronic fatigue issues and a lot of things going on. And that was all getting better. But she's like, but over the weekend, little things that I used to handle with no problems are just getting to me. And I just broke down and started crying. And it was stupid. And so I sat with her. Again, I wanted to empower her. I wanted to recreate an experience in my office, okay? And I wanted to explain her behavior to herself. Because in the time, we have what? BC before COVID and AC after COVID. Most people's adaptability zone is shrunk from little fiddle farts to older individuals. And we're seeing that across the board. So for her to understand that this isn't just her. And I told her, I said, I can line 50 or 100 people up in the same boat as you. We need to be a little bit more kind to ourselves and know that our ability to handle these stressors has been shrunk down due to the last 3 years of what we've all experienced. And then if you got the viral load on top of that, et cetera, it just is our adaptability has shrunk. So we need to be a little bit more kind to ourselves. That went viral. That went global. That was just Monday. And by yesterday in the office, I mean, I was getting all kinds of notes and so forth. Creating an environment like that for moms where they can understand that it's not just them, they feel isolated. They feel like they are not handling the stress anymore as well, that they're not good enough for their families. So that is a huge thing. And they will talk. And just taking that load off of them, their well-being goes up. Kids respond to caregivers, especially mom stress. Guess what? Kiddos' behavior gets better. So just remember that. Women talk. Give them that space and that place to have that conversation. And they will search media and they will post on media. So look at your reviews. If you're not savvy or don't feel comfortable in that, maybe hire somebody that is knowledgeable on how to handle any particular reviews. But use testimonies. Use testimonials out there on your pages. Get a release form, right? That you're able to do that. But this can be the most powerful form of connecting with your communities via other patients that you've connected with. Okay. So, but do keep an eye on what is being put on your social media platforms. Okay. A couple other things just to shore things up. We're in a whole different era, guys. So in the year 2000, the average American had a 12-second attention span. And 12 seconds isn't a lot, right? Okay. Today, it's actually 8.5 seconds. So the average attention span is about 8.5 seconds. Less than a goldfish. A goldfish attention span is 9 seconds. So we do need to keep that in mind when we're communicating in our offices, via social platforms. email, whatever. Okay. Keep that in mind. The attention span has shrunk drastically. What I have found that I have a practice that is so neurologically driven. So my initial consultation or intake is longer. It's an hour, but I am listening to them. That gives them I'm empowering them to tell their story to me. I am listening intensively and taking notes and asking questions during that time. However, my report of findings is shorter. And I do shorter snippets of information over time for educational purposes because we have less of attention span than a goldfish. So just remember that. Lots of times we have the desire to just barf everything out at them and tell them everything we know. And we've got to dial that back a little bit and give them little snippets at a time. Okay. And that may be in the form of whether you have a social media tract that you send them, you email them a 10-second video or a little 10-second blurb of information or whatever. Over time, the thing we're finding is a lot of people aren't even using email anymore. It's going to more of a texting platform. So these are all things we need to kind of keep in mind there. And last but not least, the average American has a reading level at about a 7th to 8th grade level. So choose your words kindly, easily, whether they're spoken words or written words. People do respond if you think of 3 ways to communicate within your office: auditorily, visually, and kinesthetically. If they can see something, hear something, and have something tangible and tactile, it sticks better in their memory bank. So just some things to think about as you move into 2023. And as we're trying to navigate, again, AC after COVID. And a very interesting study just came out a couple weeks ago looking at adolescents' brains, healthy adolescents, that not from getting a viral load or not from getting an injection, but from merely the stress. I shouldn't use that term, merely the stress, but from the stress of the last 3 years-ish and what that's doing to the brain. And an adolescent brain aging faster than expected. So we can only surmise if we take that information and put that to older adults that maybe weren't as healthy or have endured more stress over time, what that's happening. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing these days, that adaptability zone shrinking. So as we wrap it up, I want you to remember this and take time to be kind to yourself. At the end of the year, a lot of people are tired, they're exhausted. Don't be so hard on yourself. Take that extra time, rest, reset, reboot, rise, repeat, and just keep doing that. And try to make that a goal for 2023, to have that extra time for yourself and have a little bit of grace for yourself. All right, we're going to wrap it up. So from my house to your house, from me and Elizabeth, from Chiro Secure to you out there, we wish you an incredible holiday season, a Merry Christmas, all the best in 2023. I'll be back. I'm going to start a series, In the Know. We're going to talk a lot about preconception and prenatal things to know with regard to neurodevelopment. And Eric Kowalski is here the first Thursday of the month, and a lot of great speakers or guests in between. And again, we wish you a Merry Christmas. Chiro's crew, you're amazing. We love you. We'll see you guys next year.
Today's pediatric show, Look to the Children, was brought to you by Chiro Secure.